Hello and welcome to number 3 of my live drawing session. This is the session when I teach you guys how to draw. We learn some skills. It's a serious exercise in drawing. There's no jokes, but hopefully we will have some fun along the way, as well as meeting all kinds of ridiculous technical snags. Right, well, thank you for tuning in, everyone. Just get my pen there, get all set up. Okay, so here we go. So for the people that tuned in last time, you might remember that I drew some James Bonds, didn't I? I drew some 007s. It's a very macho drawing. Lots of masculinity, lots of testosterone. And as soon as I turned off that video, I threw my phone across the room in frustration, because I thought to myself, Ash, you can't top that, mate. You can't top that kind of meat, that kind of level of macho-ness, that manliness, that, you know, all that sweat and stubble. You can't beat it, mate. And then I remembered a certain film that does top that. And this is the film I'm going to be sketching you guys today. A total of 9 heads, not 2, not 6, but 9. And it's these gentlemen here from The Expendables. Wow. Look at them. Oh my gosh. I mean, that is pure meat right there. That is pure meat. If the James Bond films were pigs in blankets, then The Expendables would be wild boars shouting at each other in a ball pond of buffalo testicles. It's just more masculinity than any singular human can handle. So it's probably best to watch it in groups, you know, because quite frankly, this film should come with some kind of warning of just how sort of manly it is. First time I saw it, I headbutted my dinner. I was eating a chicken tikka when we got to the first action scene, and I kind of half lifted the plate up to my face, half brought my face down, and just went smash head first into the curry. It's just that's just the kind of thing that film does to you, man. And we're going to draw it. We're going to draw it together. I'm going to show you how to capture the patriarchal grit of these fellas. Get them in right close. Yeah, I'm just going to draw their chins. I can't be arsed with Sly Stallone's eyes. I'm just gonna write YouTube where his eyes go. It's all part of the plan. All part of the plan, folks. There you go. I'm really prepared this time around. Really prepared. Okay, so we're going to draw the Expendables. Look at them there. Now, I'm breaking all kinds of rules today, because what I normally do is I normally stick to the A5 piece of paper. But because this is a special occasion and we've got all that kind of alpha male stuff going on, I thought I'd use an extra big bit of paper, and I'm not going to make a big mess of it like I did to the Bond drawing. This is going to be a really good one. What I need to take into account is all these heads. You know, I got to fit them all in, so I'm going to draw an imaginary triangle, the summit of which is the top of Sly's forehead, and it kind of goes like that, and then hopefully that line will just kind of disappear as I'm drawing. And then I'm going to do a box. I'm going to allocate a little box for each of these guys. Yeah, let's see what we got here. Because I mean, poor Bruce Willis, and poor little Stone Cold Steve Austin getting kind of super glued to Dolph Lundgren's ear there. They're at dangerous risk of getting nudged out of this, and I'm not going to let that happen, folks, because they're an integral part of the Expendables experience. So I watched the Expendables. I paid £4 to rent it, which is money I'll never get back. No, I'm joking. It's a fantastic film. It's arguably one of the greatest films ever made. It teaches you a lot about life and love, and how to, like, physics, and realism. Like, who cares? You know, like, yeah, you're surrounded by 10 people with machine guns, and you're going to get out of it using some basic judo, and that's fine, you know. I think that says a lot about life. So I'm gonna go straight in with Sly's face. Sly, of course, in amongst all these dudes, that somehow managed to be the main star of this film. Next to Statham. Now, I got a lot of admiration for Statham because he worked along Sly. Sly comes across as a nice guy, but man, for the entirety of the film, he's basically just kind of going, and you get these scenes, like, you know, for 10 minutes on end of Statham, his poor little Cockney face, staring at Stallone, and he doesn't know what the hell's going on or what this man's talking about. It must have been really tough for him. But, you know, Sly's the main star. Sweet jeebus, look at those biceps. You know, when I watched this and I started doing this drawing, this is absolutely true. It started raining outside. You can see there, it's starting to spit a little bit, and I think it's going to rain meat, folks. I think salami is going to rain from the sky, because that's how manly this film is. I think I'm going to find a whole white wine Chianti stuck in my exhaust. So this is Sly's face. He's chosen not to reveal his eyes in this picture. He's wearing a cool dude pair of shades there. Just fine. I can work with that. Half his face is shrouded in the shadows, such is the way with action. So I'm gonna recreate. I've talked about shading before. No, it's not. So it doesn't really matter. I'm just gonna draw it down there, like some kind of little black tear. And what the compensation with Sly is, he's got a massive face, massive features, but he compensates for that with his little tiny mouth. Yeah. He's got a bit of stubble there. A lot of stubble in this film. If you watch it, you'll see your fair share of beard. I mean, they shave to an extent. Colour his shades. I mean, it's fine. You can just do squiggles. Body's a whole different story. I've got two options here. I can do the body now. I better do the body now. Otherwise, I might do that thing that I sometimes accidentally do. Look at that. Look at that. That is the start we want, folks. I'm really, really happy with that. The only thing I missed out is his eyebrow. There you go. Fantastic. Oh boy. I'm really feeling it. Really feeling it. How is everyone? Everyone good? Yep. I don't know what's going on either. What's happening tomorrow? I don't know. Let's do another drawing. Let's have a good time, eh? Sylvester Stallone was also famously the doppelganger of Josh Homme at Queens of the Stone Age there, as you can tell. If I get really ahead of myself, then I'd be tempted to draw his nudist bass player alongside, but I won't be doing that today. Well, there you go. Sly, look at him there. I think he was here. Give me a big heavy pat on the shoulder for that. Right, so Statham kind of nestled in the back there, thinking to himself, "Oh, why wasn't I in the front of the picture? Oh, I was in this film as well." But you know, he's a humble guy. Kind of nestled in the back there. His little face. What a guy! What a guy, Statham. Let's draw his little pert little features there. So Expendables has some of the best dialogue in a movie ever. Absolutely terrific dialogue. There's one scene halfway into the film, and there's a verbal exchange between Stallone and Statham. I just want to say at this point, actually, that it's kind of all in Statham's mouth. Almost tempted to leave it there and move on to the next person, you know. What do you think? Yeah, I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to quit while I'm ahead on that one. I'm going to draw Terry Crews. Mr. Terry Crews there. Doesn't look happy. Don't think he realised that Mickey Rourke's smiling behind him. Terry Crews with that big gun. He's got this big gun in the film. It just kind of blows people up. He's very happy to be using it. Kind of wonder why they didn't all just have that gun. And I thought it's probably quite expensive, you know. Probably have to play a nice game of lexicon to decide who had that one. And so there you go, Terry Crews, good lexicon player. I just want to say at this point, I don't know the name of any of the characters in this film. I know the name of all the actors, but not the characters, and I don't think anyone does. Think of all the brows, all the brows in this lineup. Terry Crews, he's got my favourite brows. And in overzealously captivating that brow, it appears that I have forgotten to include the top of his forehead. But it doesn't matter, okay? Do you remember the 4 rules of drawing I went through before? So number 1 is don't do a drawing if you don't want to do it, only do it if you want to do it. Number 2 is always draw the thing that's on the piece of paper of the thing that you can see to draw. Number 3 is don't think about it. And number 4 is carry on no matter what happens. Even my camera phone doesn't want to get in focus. Okay, what do you all think? This is looking great so far. And luckily, because they're all kind of huddled together, I mean, in this day and age, folks, it's just nah. I'd need like 9 laptops, wouldn't I? But in happier times, we're all huddled together, and I'm really looking forward to drawing the bodies. I'm going to say that. There you go. Right, so now I've won back the confidence to draw Statham's little face. So Expendables contains some of the best dialogue in a film ever. And there's an exchange between Stallone and Statham halfway into the film that it gives me goosebumps. I mean, I'm sorry, I promised I wouldn't cry. It's just a beautiful bit of dialogue when they're flying in a big plane, Sly and Statham together, flying in a plane, and Statham kind of climbs into this little mini cockpit, and he sticks his head out like a little mouse, and shoots a load of soldiers, and then Stallone flies over this jetty and drops a load of fuel, and then I don't know, I can't remember what he drops next. I think it's a kind of roll of flaming toilet paper or something. The whole thing blows up, and then they're all happy about it. And then there's this beautiful bit of dialogue when Statham climbs back into the plane. Stallone says to him, "Great job." And Statham says right back at him, "That was a statement." And you just don't get good writing like that anymore. It just doesn't exist in Hollywood. Now it's all kind of, with great powers comes blah, 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 blah. No, these writers are on another level. And just wait till we get to Jet Li's line, because Jet Li steals the show. But I'm not drawing Jet Li here. I'm drawing Mr. Mickey Rourke with his beautiful cowboy hat there. He kind of doesn't look anything like that in the film. I have a lot of questions that I want to ask. Then his hat there, kind of cheated a bit and gone out the Mount Rushmore. Testosterone. Mickey Rourke is also famous for his movie The Wrestler. Wink, wink. I was kind of hoping that Rourke and Steve Austin would kind of throw down in a wrestling ring with like loads of spectators and bit of the old spandex, but didn't happen, I guess. Guess these things cost money. So I'm going to capture Rourke's chiseled features. Yeah. Just get his little... Holy smokes, he's the only one smiling. I've only just realised that. I mean, Dolph is a bit, if you want to call that a smile. Don't worry, we'll get to Dolph. And I appear to have lost my source material, pardon me, hang on. Let's see now. Yeah, this is going good. Just do those lines there. Those lines. Lips. One of my bonus rules, when you're drawing a macho male actor, don't be scared about the lips, man. Don't be scared to draw a man's lips. Very important. Any artist will tell you this. Never be afraid to draw a man's lips. There you go. Of course, there's a little chin hair at the bottom, and here we go. We got Brucey at the back. Get in there, hiding behind the cowboy hat. So what's going on here? Let's get some perspective right here, folks. Okay, so we've got a bald head, just kind of hiding. I mean, this is kind of he's he's wrecked it a bit, hasn't he? Typical Bruce Willis. He's kind of trying to poke taller, whereas, yeah, all right, I'll indulge that, but the bottom of his face is still gonna finish when everyone else does, and he's just gonna have to deal with that. Come on, Bruce, you can handle it, mate. Let's do this, man. Let's get you down. Let's get you down on the sheet, brother. What was Bruce Willis in The Expendables? I mean, I remember seeing him. I remember his scene, but the editing in that whole scene was so bizarre. Like, I mean, well, I have good reason to talk more about that scene later. But it's almost like I looked into Bruce Willis's face again. Don't know the character's name. Nobody does. I almost looked into Bruce Willis's face, and I saw the face of a man who didn't even believe that he was in a film. And so he's got an ear, starts at his eye and ends at his nose, and he's got those funny things, a few lines there. And there you go, guys. That's Bruce Willis. That's what he looks like. If you want to do an 80s Bruce, remove those lines, give him some hair, draw a bit of dirt on his face. Okay, so it's at this point, we're kind of halfway into this now, and it's, let me just get you in focus here. So I'm really happy with the way it's gone so far. I'm extremely happy. I suspect this may be my best work today. Now, I'd like to bring something to your attention at this point. I'm just going to zoom out of this image, and I'm going to tell you about the one part of this image that I actually despise. It makes me really, really cross. Do you know what makes me cross? Okay, this skull. Okay, skull angers me. So the three of you that are watching this, you're thinking to yourselves, why does the skull anger you, Ash? Well, we'll get to it, okay? I've got good reason. We're not going to go into it now. Okay, we'll go into it after. So Jet Li, fabulous Jet Li. Look at him there. That dude knows the score. Look at his face. Jet Li, he's great. He's great as a good guy. He's great as a bad guy, and he's great as a good guy and a bad guy in that one. The one. He's a multi-talent. Well, I've made a pig's ass of that, hasn't I? Look, his chin stops way above, just above Stallone's shoulder there, and I've gone way up there. What am I going to fill that space with? I think I can rescue this, folks. Never be afraid to rescue a drawing. Never give up. Any artist will tell you this. Okay. See how these boxes have really helped. Working to the parameters of these boxes have made this a phenomenal exercise. Sorry, I was just blowing a fly out my mouth there. So we go there. There's his ear poking out. Jet Li has he steals the show with a really good line at the end. Very good line. Now, I've already explained about how good the dialogue is. He says to Stallone during the final battle, he says to him, "Your lucky ring stinks." That's just the kind of film that you're watching there, you know. It's just get on board. It's a real watch it in the gym film. Yeah, okay, so this is going good. I mean, these are all really kind of, you know, I mean, especially the ones of real kind of sort of physical sport credentials. You kind of think I'd be a bit more nervous about doing this drawing. But the only person that really intimidates me in this drawing is Jet Li, because he's looking at me and he's basically saying, get you in focus there. Basically saying, don't mess me up, get me right. Even my camera's intimidated. So I'll honour that, Fret, and look how well this has worked out, you see, because look how pronounced those cheekbones are, especially the left one. Yeah. And that is how I can make up for that ridiculous mistake that I did earlier. Okay, I can just turn that into a cheekbone, and it works, because his nose goes down there, kind of stops there, goes back up. All you got to do then is his mouth. Yeah. It's not something I've actually said to you guys, but I think you've all managed to ascertain it watching these videos. And maybe seeing some of my other drawings is the best artist tool is a biro. I mean, look. Yeah. Oh yeah. Jack would be proud. Okay, so this gentleman, oh dear. How am I going to fit your face in, Mr. Randy Couture? Now, this is another guy that won't be best pleased if I mess it up, because he's an MMA fighter with some serious credentials behind him, so won't be making any jokes about that guy. So I'm going to do a great job of his face. See here, his ear is merging into Dolph Lundgren's hair, which I assume is through some kind of act of affection. So of his UFC qualifications, I was kind of hoping this guy would spend more time on screen with his shoes and socks off, kicking people in the head. There's actually very little of that. It's okay though. See all the lines. So we got a lot of lines here. Okay, these are all kind of middle-aged dudes, and this this gentleman here is no exception. Yeah, it's a very sullen kind of don't mess with me features. Going right across there, a little dimple in his chin, and some lines on his head. Yeah, smashed it, folks. Oh boy, no, this is the bit I've been excited about. Look at him, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Dolph Lundgren. I love drawing Dolph. I love a good Dolph. Look at him there. Marvellous. What a face. So first time I watched Expendables. Obviously there's loads of twists and turns. Really really keeps you on your toes, you know, really keeps you guessing. It's you got to be you can't watch this film half asleep. You got to be wide awake, otherwise you'll miss something in the story, and you'll be like, wow, what happened? Why is this guy doing this? And poor Mr. Lundgren, he gets a bit misguided. He takes a bit of a heel turn halfway in. He becomes a baddie for a bit and sides with the forces of evil. Just doing his crown there. This is his crown. I'm on fire today, folks. Don't be embarrassed if you can't keep up. Don't be embarrassed if you can't keep up with my skills today, okay? If you try and do this and it ends up looking like a bunch of weird potatoes with faces, it's only because you haven't practiced as much as me, okay? So don't panic. So Dolph takes he goes rogue and ends up almost killing poor Jet Li, and Mr. Stallone, and Sly Stallone basically shoots him in his own words a few inches above the heart. And when I first saw the film, I got up, I screamed and I shouted, "That's for Rocky III. That's for Apollo Creed. No, Ash, it was Rocky IV. Wake up." Anyway, I screamed and I said, "That's for Apollo Creed," and then I ran up to my TV and I just booted my TV. I just kicked it really hard. The screen still broke. You need no, kids today, they think they're ready for a film like The Expendables, but really you've almost got to pump some iron before you watch it. Otherwise, you'll do things like that. You'll damage your property. Dolph Lundgren is, of course, an old man from a manga movie. Usually when I draw mass groups of faces, one of them ends up looking sort of like a Dark World version of Keith Richards, and today looks like Dolph has fallen to the curse of Keith, which happens quite a lot in art. Any artist will tell you this. Sorry for the numerous problems with focus today. Perhaps I need to upgrade to some equipment that's actually worthy of putting out something that everyone can enjoy. Steve Austin! Stone Cold Steve Austin. What a bad man he is in this film. What a terrible man. Hollering in his Texan slurs and, attacking all the people that it's not very nice to attack. Look at him there, and he's smiling. Git. Now, I know Stone Cold Steve Austin quite well, not personally, but I've seen a bit of wrestling, so I know quite a lot about Stone Cold Steve Austin, and I'm telling you now, there's a whole chunk of the side of his head missing there. His head is not that pointy in the wrestling, so I've bulked that out because I think he'd be happy with that. Okay, and I did it for him. I did it for you guys. I thought to myself, if you want me to bulk out Stone Cold Steve Austin's head in the manner of how he looks in wrestling and not how he does in this misleading movie poster, which I'm drawing now, give me a hell yeah. And I anticipated your response would be hell yeah. what happened there when I was taking the camera away is it zoomed out again to that skull. The skull makes me so mad. I hate that skull. Okay, right. Don't worry too much if your eyes in drawings are sort of wobbly and you mess them up and you do one bigger than the other and your pen control's really bad. It's fine, okay? Because what you're trying to do is capture the essence. And I have flipping well captured the essence. Now, I'm sorry, I try and be humble in my art, because I'm aware that there's quite a lot of newcomers to the art world watching these videos, and I have to take that into account. But it's difficult not to be complacent, and it's difficult not to praise your own work when you capture the faces that authentically. Okay, Steve, Dolph, Randy, Jet, Sly, Statham, Randy, Mickey, and Bruce. If you want me to draw their bodies, give me it. I'll just do it. Okay. Right, now we're going to smash through this bit, okay? Any artist will tell you, and I've said this a bunch of times, smash through the bodies, okay? Because once you do the faces, you can literally do any old junk, okay? That said, I'm going to put a little bit of care into it. Thank you, Mr. Matthew Sharp. I agree, it is beautiful. I think some attention needs to be paid to the muscles because we are dealing with a product based on pure masculinity here. I mean, this was kind of, yeah, and don't think I haven't noticed the crotch level guns either. I think I was born yesterday. I know what's happening here. This exudes macho-ness. I mean, I heard stories about these guys on set. You know, like one of them, when it was lunchtime, one of them kind of, I think it was the UFC guy, Randy Couture, he'd come in and he'd just empty this big sack of raw potatoes. And, you know, they weren't even cooked or anything, and just the cast would run in, kind of like, you know, like when your cats meow when they want feeding, they all kind of ran in and just picked the potatoes off the floor and started biting into them and eating them, and then whatever they couldn't finish, they just sort of throw against the water. Okay, I've messed that up. Gonna have to extend Stallone's bicep. This means I got to extend his sleeve, but that's okay. All right, good, and we're saved. Okay. Yeah. Jet Li kind of does that with his little straps there he's got. So I'll do those. Do that as an arm. Statham. Good old Statham. Yeah. Statham. Even in that picture, he's thinking to himself, "What the hell is Stallone babbling on about?" So he just kind of, his body just sort of goes down, and then there's Terry Crews, he's got a lovely little kind of bracelet on there. Or draw that on his shoulder. It's okay to stop caring at this point. You know, it's okay to just kind of think to yourself, yeah, I'm just gonna blag it, because art's one of those things when you just don't worry about it. Just get on with it, eh? Mickey Rourke, his body's a blessing because it doesn't do anything and then it fades into obscurity, and so does Bruce's. Doesn't have much of a neck, so we don't have to worry about that, folks. There we go. And then here we go. Mr. Randy's a bit more complicated because he's got his gun there. Draw that, like that, like that, and then just do a line going down there, and then just, yeah, got a muscle, more muscle, glove, something might be a wrist, shoulder, it's kind of, and Steve Austin flashing a little bit of arm there. Who would I add as an additional expendable if I were to make the film? Good question. I think definitely Eddie Izzard. Definitely. So here we go. Now, if I was going to draw the skull, I'd do it here because I ran out of paper. Did that thing again, didn't I? I'm not going to draw the guns because, you know, there's enough masculinity going on. So let's address the elephant in the room. Okay. Now, interesting that James asked that question. Okay, because there's one person that's missing from this drawing. Okay, there's actually 10 major mighty performances going on here. And no, I'm not talking about Eric Roberts either. I'm talking about the man, the great Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now, Arnold Schwarzenegger occupies one scene in this film, and it's a very interesting scene because it's kind of like watching a David Lynch film when you've got the flu. You're in a church, you've got Arnie and Bruce and Stallone, and I don't think anybody knows what's going on in that scene. Just the editing, the dialogue, the exchanges, they're clearly not all there at the same time, and it leads me to suspect that there's actually a multiverse thing going on, like there's kind of 3 different expendable stories happening at once. So in future expendable movies, I'd like them to explore the concept of a multiverse, just to explain what's going on in this weird scene. But basically, they have neglected to include Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger in this poster, which is disgusting. What they've done there instead is they've put down this skull. Where Arnie should be, there is a skull. I hate that skull. It's got no business being there. Okay? They've all got skulls, alright? You got a skull, I got a skull. Why we got a skull? Okay? When I saw this drawing, I got really sad. But luckily, I came up with a plan. When I started doing these drawings a couple of months ago, I started thinking about all the things that could go wrong, all the mistakes that could be made, and all the things that, you know, all the kind of potential disasters and everything else. I lost nights and nights and nights of sleep over it. So I came up with a contingency plan, and the contingency is emergency drawings. So I'm just gonna leave this drawing a sec, and I'm gonna divert you guys to this little cupboard up here. I keep got a little box. Okay, all right. Show you what's in this little box. Okay, I've got hundreds of these boxes around the house, literally hundreds. I put in all kinds of places, and they've got my emergency drawings inside. It took me a long time to do them all. I've basically got a box for every actor ever. So I mean, a typical morning, my wife would be cooking the breakfast and dressing the kids and schooling the kids, cooking lunch, schooling the kids again, and doing the tea, and then getting them washed and dressed, and into their pajamas and into bed. And I'd be up in the attic while all that's going on doing these drawings, because we're a team, you know. We're a very efficient family like that, and I assume that my wife agrees. So this is my emergency Arnie's, okay? Because they failed to include Arnie in this picture, I'm going to add one of my emergency Arnie drawings into this, okay? Alright? And good job I thought about this, okay? Right, so these are all my emergency Arnies. Done loads, okay? Let's go through. So I've done all these Arnies throughout the entirety of his career. I've gone all the way to the beginning his career when he was a young strapping bodybuilder. There he is, bodybuilder Arnie. Let's get in focus there. There he is. That's when he was young. He's younger than all of us there. I think he's about 19 or something. That's when he started. I've got another one from that era too. There you go. That's another one I did. Same era. So when he's just getting into those rugged, handsome looks. And the world was his oyster at that point, Arnie. The world was his oyster. He had it all to come. He had not yet broken into Hollywood. And when he broke into Hollywood, he became an icon. Okay, so this is the classic Arnie icon. This is how everyone likes to sort of imagine Arnie in their heads. You know, when you go to those carnivals, you know, you walk across your park one day and then the next day they got that carnival with all the funny rides and they've got the big spray paints of all the movie stars. That'll be the sort of typical Arnie picture that you see. So this is the 80s, and I've got a few emergency 80s ones because Arnie was kind of most prolific mainly in the 80s. So I did so this is his I might possibly be an animatronic Arnie. You know, whether he's trying to pull a tracker out of his nostrils or whether his head's about to split open, or whether he's trying to gouge out one of his eyes with a pen because he's a robot. That's that typical expression. I did another one very similar from a more comedic standpoint. There you go. Yeah, so the bulk of my emergency Arnies are 80s, not all of them, but the bulk of them. Okay, there's a very stoic look from the Predator there, getting ready to throw down in the jungle. Come on, you know that one. It's all here. Let me move on into the 90s. This is a kind of typical Arnie portrait from the 90s there. When he was a bit older, but still massively kind of handsome, chiseled. That's his kind of True Lies pick. I've even, ladies and gents, I've even got one from the excellent comedy film that also makes you think, Junior. There he is in Junior. So if I dropped that, if that fell out of my pocket in the street and somebody walked past, they'd pick it up and go, oh, someone's dropped their Arnie from Junior pick. There you go, there he is, look. So it's all Arnie's for all eventualities, for all kinds of emergencies. I've even as a backup, even as a decoy, I've even got a Mr. Freeze one. Mr. Freeze, Arnold Schwarzenegger in the excellent Batman and Robin, the fabulous Batman and Robin. There he is. But for this film, considering the time period, I think I'm going to go with this one. Okay, this is Arnie as we know him today. Old, wise, experienced, the only man capable of rallying this defiant band of misfits together. So I'm going to say no to the skull. I'm going to put Arnie's face right here, where the skull doesn't go in the picture, but that's not the point. Yes, I agree. It is a definite improvement on the original. So this is what you can do with art, folks. If you see something you like, not only can you emulate the thing that you like, but you can also make it better. There you go, The Expendables. Okay, I'm going to sign that. There you go, flipping scribble there. Going to sign that, and well, that's it, folks. Let's relax, take a siesta, have a cigar, and sleep easy, knowing that our small, vulnerable planet is in fact in safe hands. Thanks to these guys. What a wonderful drawing session. I really hoped you all learned something today. So next Sunday, I'm just gonna, who's all, yeah. Next Sunday, I'm going to carry on with the macho-ness. I've got another extremely macho man lined up for next Sunday's drawing, and quite frankly, folks, I can't wait, and I hope you can join me. Not a macho man who's in any of these films, and I don't know if he turns up in the Expendables 2 or 3 because I haven't seen him. I haven't got a clue what happens in those. So this is it for today. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. Please keep those requests coming, and I hope you will have a wonderful Sunday. Yeah, The Expendables. If you haven't seen it, check it out, and keep this drawing close to your heart. Bye-bye, everyone. See you soon. See you next Sunday. Take care. Bye-bye.